Hey guys, glad to be back with you again this week. This week I wanted to take a moment to pause, reflect, and for us to have a think about what does progress look like in this conversation? Okay, how do we know there's a difference between now and the start of the program? And I just wanted to give you some things to look out for because on a traditional program that might be helping you with anxiety, the number one thing you're going to be looking at is, am I having fewer panic attacks and anxiety? And how quickly are they falling away? Right? They're my two main criteria with any kind of other type of program. And we are kind of looking at those two things as well. But there are other indicators of progress that are far more subtle that I want you to be aware of so you can get eyes for them. Because as you know, when I've been talking through this program, when we start to get eyes for something, we start to see more of it. And I want you to start noticing and seeing where you're making progress, because that's going to allow you to move forward in that direction and see more of it. So for some of you, progress is, as we talked about last week, oh my goodness, I see something completely different about the whole way the human experience works, and your anxiety falls away and it vanishes into the ether. I've seen that happen less than a handful of times in my experience of working with clients. Alternatively, what happens is that, for most of us, is that the insight fairies are slowly doing their work, and the insights that I find the most impactful are the ones I'm not even consciously aware of. Right? I listen to something, or I read a book about this understanding, and sometimes nothing to do with this understanding at all. But say, for example, I'll listen to a teacher, listen to someone speaking. I just get a sense of feeling peaceful while they're talking. And then I go back out and I live my life. Just forget about everything I've learned. Go out and live my life. And yet what I notice is that how I show up is different. Just really subtly, like how I might react to having an argument with my husband or one of my kids, and just noticing that it passed over quicker. That I've got an event coming up, something I'm going to be doing, and that whereas previously I would have really worried about it, I worried about it, but only for half the amount of time I normally would. Isn't that funny? And the more you notice those kind of subtle changes and appreciate the subtlety of them, instead of constantly looking for the big, massive breakthrough, that's when we start to get more of those. When we see that that's how it works, it's really gentle. It's really happens at a level we're not conscious of, which is great, because if you're looking for it all the time, there's nothing more guaranteed to chase away an insight, right? And where I see the real differences in terms of progress in this conversation, and we've talked about this before, is that when you all came into the program, the kind of overwhelming feedback I got from you guys speaking to you was like, how much do you care that you need your anxiety gone? And you're like, 10 out of 10, right? Get it to go away. That's why I'm in the program. And for me, real progress is that you're moving through the program and you're moving in this direction, and you're getting anxiety and panic attacks still, maybe, or not, and experiencing anxiety, but it's just less concerning. The amount of fear you have about your anxiety is starting to drop away. Because do you know what real freedom is? Not that you never have anxiety and panic again. Not that you never feel that fearful churning in your stomach again, because that is never going to happen. That you're never going to feel those feelings again, because every single human being feels those feelings. But what will happen, which is beautiful, is that you can have, like how you have anger, right? So you get in a rage, you get angry, you might stew over it for a little bit, and then you calm down and you get on with it. And the next day and the day after that, you don't sit there thinking about, Or how many anger attacks did I have this week? And was that anger worse than that anger? And I wonder if it's something in my childhood that caused it. And what triggered it this time so I can make sure I can get rid of it last time? Most of us don't have any thinking about anger. We lose our temper, we can't back down, we make amends, say sorry, whatever, and move on with our lives. And we have no judgment about our anger and no thinking about our anger most of the time. Right? There's always exceptions, but most of the time. And what progress is to me is that I'm free to have anxiety as much as I have anger, or sulking, or depression, or sadness, or any of those other human emotions, but they just become one of many human emotions, not this big thing that I need to fix and deal with and never have again. Right? It's like it just melts into the mass of human experience. And it's unpleasant when I'm in it. When I'm angry, don't get me wrong, it's not very pleasant being angry. Right? It's not a nice sensation to be in. I'm not saying you're going to enjoy anxiety, right? I don't enjoy being angry. But I don't spend my whole life trying to avoid being angry, trying to set up strategies and techniques to stop me being angry. I'm not scared of being angry. It's just something that happens, it rises up and then it goes. And that's what anxiety is becoming for you guys. It's becoming less of a big deal, and that is progress. You see how it's different? Like, our expectations that it's gone, I never have it again, I can just move out in my life and not think twice. We're always going to have it. It's just that it's not going to knock you for six. Your anxiety is not going to freak you out anymore. And that's progress. And then the other thing that I want to point to as progress that I see is that you start to get eyes for and you start to notice when you are experiencing peace of mind. Because I don't care how long you've had anxiety or how bad your anxiety is right in this moment or over the last week. I know there are times in your life where you experience a profound sense of well-being and peace of mind. Even if it's just for a second. Even if it was like 3 weeks ago. That you have the capacity for that sensation and experience. That you've experienced it once, many of you, many times more than once, but you've experienced it in your life, and that's possible. And I want you to start getting eyes for the fact that that's your innate state. That's the default. That's where you really are. That's who you really are. That's your natural way of functioning in the world, is from this deeper peace of mind. And it's at a deeper level than feelings. It's not about being happy, right? It's like we have this deep-seated sense of totally joy, love, peace, and contentment. These really richer feelings of life. When our thinking drops away, that's what's left. And on top of that, we have happiness, sadness, joy, excitement, depression, anxiety, anger. We have our human experience, right? This is our human experience. But no matter what's going on here, that we have this deep, fundamental well of profound, deep well-being, unshakable, unbreakable, unmarkable by any of this. This can't dent it, it can't damage it, it can't scratch it, it cannot touch it. This is unbreakable. And in those moments of quiet, in those moments we all have in life where our heart wells up with love and gratitude and just the joy of being alive, like that is us touching this space, right? That's always there. And we don't have to live from this space all of the time. Nobody does, not the most enlightened being. But the fact that you know it's here. I had a client once that referred to this beautifully. She said, it's like I'm walking around on this dark piece of paper. And every now and again I come across a pinprick through the paper and it's mind shining through and I get touched by it. And she said, the fact I can walk around on that piece of paper all day because I know that the light is underneath. I know that it's there underneath. And the knowing of that is what keeps me, like, gives me my solid base. So I can go and navigate all this dark paper up here, stumbling across pinpricks here and there, knowing that that is underneath always. And I want you to start getting eyes for that, because the more sense you get of that, that's progress. And finally, there is no point at which this is done. Like, this is a conversation that can go on for infinity, because there's always more to see about what's underneath. There's always more to see about the nature of thought and how our experience gets created at a deeper and deeper and a more profound level. So it's not like you start here, you do 8 weeks, now you're done, off you go. Don't get me wrong, there is a point, like there was a point I got to where I was like, I don't care if I never have another insight again. I am so grateful to have seen what I've seen. It's changed everything. But I've continued to see more and more and more from that point onwards. But what I want to encourage you and nurture you along the path and show you is that whether you're done and over your anxiety, whether you're seeing profound change, whether you've seen like a tiny bit of change, whether you've had a glimmer of an insight, whether you've had a tiny bit of a shift, whether the fact that you're still showing up, if all that's happened is that you're still showing up because you know there's something here. Progress is the fact that you are moving in the right direction. You're moving towards a deeper understanding of the 3 principles of mind, consciousness, and thought. You're moving towards a deeper understanding of that thing that keeps you safe wherever you are. You're moving towards a deeper understanding of how anxiety ever gets created in the first place and how it kind of maintains itself. So given that all of that, you are heading in the right direction. You can relax. Like, it's been... The one thing about starting in this direction is that you can't forget what you've seen. You can't, it's like the crack's been opened now. Like, you know there's something here. You've seen a glimmer of truth. You've had a pinprick of light that's come through and awoken something in you. And you know what? The rate at which you see stuff and the insights you get and what you see and when you get, like, it's all going in this direction from here on in. There is no stopping it, right? You're in for the long haul. Even if you never show up to another video, you never listen to this stuff again, insight will continue to unfold for you anyway, because the crack's been opened, the door's been opened. Right? So what I want you to know is that I want you to feel that wherever you are on your journey with anxiety right now, you're heading in a healthful direction, and you're heading in the direction that is ultimately guaranteed going to move you through this. It's just that the timescales for all of you will vary and differ. Okay, so some of you, it'll be a week-long process. Some of you, it'll be a 12-week process. Some of you, it'll be a 10-year process, right? But there's opportunity for insight and clarity and those deeper feelings as you're in the journey. You don't have to get to the end to be okay. And my guess is that some of you, all of you, as you've listened to these videos and you're going through this journey with me, have had moments of insight, have had moments of seeing things in a different way. There's none of you that have remained untouched by this conversation, otherwise you wouldn't be here watching by this time in the program. So I wanted to reassure you, I want to encourage you, I want to show you what progress looks like. And I don't know about you guys, but I am so having a blast at doing this program with you. I'm so grateful I get to do this program with you. And anyway, I'm going to go now because I'm going to get all slushy on you and get all emotional, and I'm not doing that today. So stick with me, guys. We've still got a few more weeks to go. I'd love to hear in the Facebook group what progress you've seen for you, no matter how small and no matter how beautiful and subtle. I want to hear the tiny ones as well as the big ones. Okay, guys, take care. Speak to you next week.